Hi there and welcome back to my channel. From the dawn of human history, artists always try to translate the reality surrounding them in their daily life. They used every tool in their arsenal in order to translate the reality, their daily life, habits, things they do, the streets, homes, people, everything. Today, in this episode, I want to concentrate on 3 different types of contrast. They used contrast in art for many centuries. The first type of contrast that I want to talk about is called Chiaroscuro. One of the greatest artists ever to exist is the Italian painter Michelangelo Caravaggio. He took this kind of contrast to another levels. He used light and darkness, light and shadows in such a beautiful, such a perfect way. So he took this type of contrast to perfection. Keep in mind that during his lifetime, the only source of light inside homes was candles, oil fire candles. There was no electricity, of course. So when we look at his paintings today, we think, wow, it's so dramatic, it looks magical, it looks so even spooky. But think about the reality in his days. They lived with light from candles. So it looks dramatic because he lived in that era. He saw these things daily. So when we look at this kind of contrast, it exists for many centuries. I think it's one of the oldest types of contrast in art. I urge you to research Michelangelo Caravaggio's works, look at his paintings. You can learn a lot. He is one of my preferred painters. This type of contrast depicts light and shadow and is very dramatic. In his paintings, you can always see this fight between light and darkness. This is the beauty, the battle between these two. He, Caravaggio, took it to perfection. You can see that each painting that Michelangelo Caravaggio painted during his lifetime, each painting looks theatrical. But we need to keep in mind that he depicted the reality surrounding him. The second type of contrast is the contrast between cool colors and warm colors. One of the best examples, in my opinion, is Joseph my Lord William Turner, the English master. J.M.W Turner used this contrast between cool colors and warm colors in such a beautiful way. We can see it in his paintings. For example, when you look at the sea and the faraway horizon, you can see that it's blue, it's cool. A lot of time he painted the fire, for example, the burning of the House of Parliament in London. This painting, if you take a close look, you can see the contrast. It's so obvious between cool colors and warm colors, and he really mastered this technique. The third kind of contrast is the contrast between opposite colors. For example, red when it's near green, or violet with yellow, or blue with orange. One of the best artists to look at his works is Claude Monet, the French master. Claude Monet depicted and painted this kind of contrast in many of his paintings. For example, here you can see the contrast between red and greens, and between violet and yellows. So, try to take advantage as a painter, even as a beginner painter, try to take advantage of these three types of contrasts. Of course, there are many other types of contrast. For example, the contrast between sharpness and softness. I didn't talk about this in this episode. I want to concentrate only on these main and basic types of contrast. Try to take advantage of these different types of contrast and use it in your own works of art. If you put these types of contrast in your paintings, you will be able to upgrade your paintings to a whole new level. I want to show you few examples from my own paintings, how I take advantage of these kinds of contrast. For example, in this painting, I used the first type that I talked about, the chiaroscuro, the contrast between light and shadows, between light and darkness. And you can see that it looks so dramatic, so powerful. In this painting, I used the contrast between cool colors and warm colors. You can see this, for example, if you look at the roofs of the buildings, they seem very cool, bluish, violet, gray colors, but the sky is so orange, so bombastic. So this is the second type that I talked about, the contrast between warm colors and cool colors. The third example, this is one of my best paintings, I think. If you look at the cactus, it's green, but the pot is reddish. This is a very in-your-face contrast, the opposite colors. Try to take advantage of these different types of contrast in your own paintings. You will see that this will take your paintings to a whole new level and will upgrade your art, surely. Thank you so much for watching. See you next time.